So tonight we're breaking down everything that happened on day 2 of the Jeffrey Donaldson trial at Newry Crown Court, including the emotional evidence heard by the jury, the details of a 2020 letter expressing regret, and the legal arguments that was beginning to emerge from both sides of the courtroom. Now, before we begin, an important reminder that Sir Jeffrey Donaldson denies all charges and has pleaded not guilty. This video is a factual summary of what was reported in court today. So, let's get into it then. So day 2 of this trial focused heavily on evidence connected to one of the complainants, known publicly only as Witness A. So jurors were shown video recordings of police interviews carried out in early 2024, just weeks before Donaldson's arrest in March of that year. These are known as ABE interviews, so short for Achieving Best Evidence interviews. Specially recorded police interviews used in sensitive cases involving vulnerable or alleged victims. So during the interview shown to jurors, Witness A told police she believed she had been sexually abused by Jeffrey Donaldson from a young age. Now, according to the prosecution, the allegations involving Witness A span from 1999 to 2008. Donaldson is accused of 8 offences connected to her, 4 counts of gross indecency and 4 counts of indecent assault. In the interview played to jury, Witness A described several alleged encounters she says took place over the years. One of the most serious moments described involved an alleged kiss. Now, the witness claimed that Donaldson kissed her and, in quotation marks, put his tongue in my mouth and moved it around before I was able to push him off. She describes the experience as unpleasant and said it really stood out in her memory. The jury also heard claims that Donaldson allegedly made comments about the size of her breasts. Another allegation involved the use of what she described as a bright light or torch to look at her private parts. According to the evidence heard in court, the witness became visibly emotional and tearful while discussing that allegation during the police interview. She also alleged that Donaldson put his hands under her bra and touched her breasts. Again, these are allegations being presented to a jury. Donaldson denies all of these charges. The jury also heard evidence about the long-term emotional impact the complainant says these alleged incidents had on her life. She is described suffering nightmares from a young age and said she became very sexually aware very early in life. The court heard that she experienced reoccurring nightmares, and these about men doing horrible things to children, in quotation marks. She also told police that she struggled watching Donaldson continue his public and political career over the years, describing having to watch him receive accolade after accolade publicly. One of the major talking points from today's proceedings was a letter prosecutors say Donaldson sent to Witness A in June of 2020. Crown lawyer Rosemary Walsh, KC, read portions of the letter aloud to the jury, and according to the court, the letter included the words, and these are words from that in quotation marks, by the way, "I wish I could find the right words to adequately express just how sorry I am for all of this. I take full responsibility for it all." The letter also reportedly referred to seeking God's forgiveness. Now, this became a major focus because the prosecution argues the complainant interpreted this as an apology connected to the allegations. Witness A told the jury she believed Donaldson was trying to apologise for what allegedly happened in the past. However, she also said she felt the wording stopped short of specifically admitting anything directly in writing. She described it as containing a lot of apology, but not specific. Now, the defence, however, expected to strongly challenge how that letter should be interpreted, and we began seeing some of that during cross-examination today in court. So Donaldson's barrister questioned Witness A about the reliability of her memory surrounding events from years ago. The defence was pointing out that in police interviews that she had described parts of her memory around dates as foggy. However, the complainant then went on to tell the jury that she meant exact dates. Timelines were difficult to place. She insisted the alleged incidents themselves remained very clear in her mind because of their nature. Also, then the defence also directly challenged some of the allegations. So, according to the reports from court, the barrister suggested the alleged incidents involved tongue in mouth, kissing and touching did not happen. At one point, the defence suggested she may have dreamed the incidents or later come to believe that they were true over time. The complainant rejected that suggestion strongly, reportedly called it completely ridiculous and insulting. Another significant moment came when the court heard witness A had also experienced abuse by another man during childhood. The defence questioned why she had not told police about that abuse when initially making her complaint, and she responded that the allegations involving Donaldson were of such major personal significance to her and that this case became her focus. Away from the evidence itself, a lot of public attention remains on the separate legal proceedings involving Eleanor Donaldson. She was not present in court again today after previously being ruled medically unfit to stand trial, so that means that she cannot legally go through the standard criminal trial process as we've discussed before. Instead, she faces what is called a trial of facts, so that is different from the normal criminal trial because the jury does not decide guilt or innocence in the conventional sense. Instead, the jurors are only asked to determine whether the alleged acts happened based on the evidence that is presented. So no criminal conviction can result from that process. The court previously ruled that she was medically unable to properly participate in a standard trial, including instructing lawyers, understanding proceedings, or in fact giving evidence herself. So that legal distinction has become one of the most biggest discussion points surrounding this case. Meanwhile, Jeffrey Donaldson remains one of the most high-profile political figures ever to face a criminal trial in Northern Ireland. And of course, back inside court today, proceedings remained extremely serious throughout. This trial is expected to last several weeks, and the jury is still only hearing the very early stages of the prosecution case. So over the coming days, jurors are expected to hear further witness evidence, additional police interviews and legal arguments from both prosecution and defence teams. And because this remains an active criminal trial, it is important to remember that there are strict legal reporting rules around how this case is discussed publicly. The key point remains that these are allegations being tested before a jury. Jeffrey Donaldson denies all charges and has pleaded not guilty. The trial does continue tomorrow at Newry Crown Court, and if you want day-by-day coverage and courtroom breakdowns explained in these simple terms, make sure that you have hit that subscribe button. I'll continue to cover the biggest developments as they happen, and also another important point that the PSNI has try to put out there as much as possible is to refrain from making comments on a live trial, especially on social media, while they could affect the trial that is actually taking place now.